This week from GNC Week in Review, powered by geeknewscentral.com. Okay, backed up here. But okay, there we go. This week from GNC Week in Review, powered by geeknewscentral.com. Samsung unpacks its devices. Twitter fixes a security vulnerability, and DoorDash launches Dash Mart. Spit it out. Those are some of the tech news stories from this week, and it's Friday, August 7th, 2020. My name is Kirk Corliss, along with
I'm Scott Ertz.
And this is episode 65 of the GNC Week in Review podcast, part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Thank you so much for tuning in for this week's episode. We are streaming live at gncweekly.com/live, as well as Facebook Live. So please be sure to say hello in chat or comment. Also be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube. If you miss a live video, you can always catch the replay later. If you are a new listener, please be sure to subscribe to the podcast, where you can find in the right-hand side column at gncweekly.com, be it Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. You have a comment, be it on social media or email, and those links can be all found at gncweekly.com/connect. Now, before we jump in with the tech news for this week, a little bit of an update. Didn't have a show last week because of a personal matter. But just an update from June 5th episode, where it was announced that CES 2021 is going to happen in Las Vegas. That was episode 60. And apparently press like myself and Scott and a lot of people on TPN and other media representatives and exhibitors got an email survey about filling out, you want to wish to come to CES 2021, the temperature checks, the 6 feet the social distancing, and all that other stuff.
Basically, they sent us an email and said, "What could we possibly do to convince you to come to Vegas?"
Right.
Seems like the answer was nothing.
Right.
That's kind of my takeaway. The survey results were, there's nothing you can do to get us to go. And so no CES in Las Vegas.
Wah, wah.
So
which is a bummer, because I was like, and Todd was very not really a happy puppy about it. I was so looking, like I said before, I'll say it again. This is like my Christmas, my birthday, my New Year's, and just to see, it's going to be kind of hard to have this is basically CES 21. It's still going to be happening in January. Mm-hmm. It's all going to be virtual. We don't know, Scott, a lot of the media doesn't know how it's going to be, if there's going to be press conferences or how the exhibitors are going to.
There are definitely going to be press conferences.
Right. Okay.
The Sunday media day, Sunday, Monday media days are definitely happening. There will definitely be our press conferences. That much we know. That's the only thing we know, though. There will be virtual exhibitors. What does that mean? I've seen so many different attempts at virtual exhibitorships. Mm-hmm. Very few have succeeded. So, but I mean, there's more and more new things coming out, trying to deal with everybody shutting down. So, maybe by the time CES gets there, and honestly, if anybody can make it work, it'll be the CTA.
Okay.
If you think about the members of the CTA, it's some of the best and brightest people on the planet. It's Microsoft and Google and Apple, and we've got we've got these huge names, some of the smartest people out there. Somebody will figure out how to make this work. But what it'll look like, no.
Right, that's the thing. And I think that it's kind of hard to, I don't follow virtual things. But speaking of virtual things, the Samsung, well, we'll talk about that in a little bit because that was hilarious. But as far as things virtual, did you see a live stream? Did Samsung live stream? Okay, we'll get that to a little bit. But
it's always funny, and this year was no exception.
Oh, it was, and Twitter was blowing up. But we'll get. But going back to I like to see, like, and you mentioned it, and Abram mentioned it, on F5 Live on last Sunday, like the networking aspect and meeting people in person and just actually feeling the products and looking at things. So it's kind of like,
or encountering a company that you wouldn't have before because you happen to be walking past it. Some of our best content ever. You were there when Robbie and Benji Locke and Hampton came by.
Yeah.
Well, we wouldn't know them if we hadn't just tripped over them in the hall.
Right.
Because they didn't send out a press release or anything that year. The only reason we know them and the only reason we were able to give them, coverage, which they then used to get on Shark Tank, is because we happened to just see their booth.
Right. And to meet him in person and to discuss about, what it took to get, initially, and he mentioned that it was just a plain prototype and the booth was like no bigger than the studio that we were in, if not smaller.
Oh, it was way smaller.
Right. But just to see that, and he was so excited, and he had and if you saw the coverage on TPN, the booth, I mean, it just like was huge.
This year's, yeah.
And it was amazing to see that. And it was like, and to see, and Kim Kelly, who's the CEO of Hampton Products, come on, and he's
a cool guy.
Yeah, he was really funny, especially a lot of the stuff that was talked about, but also the seeing things in person, like, the TPN top pick, Wonder Painter, to see that, everything, if you see the, again, go back to the coverage, to see taking a picture of a drawing or an action figure or and everything, just to see that, it's kind of hard to like picture that virtually.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I got a press release from them ahead of time. It's why they were there, because we invited them to be on the show. But I didn't know what I was inviting. Like, based on I can guarantee, because my look of shock during the interview was legit. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I'm the one that invited them. So I'm the one who received the press release. I obviously had no idea what I was getting myself into. Which is the thing. I can't tell you how many times we've invited somebody based on a email. You're like, oh, okay, AR is popular, which is what happened. I went, oh, AR, okay, I'll invite them. AR is popular. Did not expect to give them the top prize.
Right. And
it's a fright.
And that was my pick, my best stuff. That was my pick that threw my vote in, because I was amazed to see that. And I'm not really, I mean, I follow it a little bit, but I was like, hands down, that was like, of all the products that I've seen, Benji Locke and Microvision also was really amazing. But to see that, it was just like this. But that's the thing. How did they take that environment where there's over 100,000 plus people,
223,000.
It was over 200,000. Wow,
that was the number I think I heard this year was 223.
Wow.
But I think that number included everybody this year. I think that included security and everybody with a badge. I think is what that number included.
Okay.
Which it doesn't always. It doesn't usually include everybody with a badge. It usually misses people. But anyway,
all right.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people. But so now with the coverage, so here's where we're at right now, because excuse me, I keep saying I'm so sorry. So this has been a really weird.
it's the royal pronouns.
Right. There you go. So what GNC Weekly, GNC Weekly Review, excuse me, and Plug It's Live and Tom's Hardware is going to do coverage in some shape or form in January. So it'll be
the TPN coverage.
Right.
It'll be team coverage. And in fact, since it's all virtual, we may be able to pull in some of the old team members that are able to join us at CES, which is something that I'm excited about, because Chris and Ann, who haven't been at CES since maybe 2015, we might be able to get them to help and things like that. So there are benefits.
Right.
Some.
But
our problem is we don't know what the coverage should look like. Obviously, a lot of our value is in the surprise floor finds.
Yep.
There isn't going to be any of that this year. And so what we're going to ask of our viewers, and we're going to post a link hopefully tomorrow with a feedback form. What we want is we want to hear from you guys. What would make coverage interesting to you? Do you want us to do something similar to what we've been doing in a format similar to what we've got going on right now? Would that be the best solution for us? Would the best solution be for us to do pre-interviews and just publish ahead of time? What kind of stuff? What is the ideal coverage? What would you guys like to see from us? So that's what we're going to be asking. We'll be posting. We'll be posting a link across social media. We'll be sharing it, hopefully, with our email lists as well, across as many of the TPN platforms as we can get.
Right.
We just want to know, what is it that we can do to make CES interesting for you? Excellent.
And we will also, throw in some cool stuff like if I can show it here on camera, if you're watching on video right now.
Nice.
The CES.
That's my favorite of the clear bags, is the one with the black top.
Okay. And I have some stuff in here that were some swag. I have a product from OSnap and
you've got an OSnap?
Yeah. Yep. And
me too.
Ooh, there you go. And speaking of press conferences,
if you don't know what the OSnap is, by the way, it is better than a pop socket. Because there's that, and it works because you can pop that off. It works with wireless chargers. Anyway,
and I like
that's it.
And I like the thing. If you're watching the video, it says I'm showing the case. The phone grip doesn't suck. So
they're actually repped by a friend of mine.
Oh, okay, cool. And also, and speaking of swag, well, when you go to a press conference, there's a lot of companies that will give swag. So I have still in the box, unopened, TCL's earbuds.
Mine are in the office. I was going to show off what they look like.
Okay. Well, I don't want to open it, but
yep.
So whomever when you fill out the form across the TPN platforms, GNC Weekly, Plug It's Live, Geek News Central, I'll have to let Todd know what's going on. So we will donate. I will give away one of these bags. From here, and
we're going to see what we can put together. We'll get the team members together because I know we've got a couple of things that we plan to throw in as well. We'll see if Todd can. Maybe we can get Avram to throw some stuff in. We'll see what we can get put together. We'll put together a good couple of prize packs for a couple of people, and we'll draw on random. Is the idea.
It's only in the continental U.S.
Yes,
only continental U.S. So if there's listeners out in the country, that's gonna be a little sorry.
Yeah, as Todd can attest to, shipping to Alaska, to Hawaii is not an option.
No, it's not.
It's not worth it.
No. So
anyway, so we'll post those links in the coming 48 hours.
40 hours. Okay, good.
In the next 48 hours, hopefully tomorrow, but within the next 48. The legal aspect of it is always the hard part of putting together a contest.
Yeah. So, but this is something that we thought of, and also ideas, and we wanted to give and also ways to, if you want to more content as far as GNC Week in Review, so any ideas you have, a lot of the segments that we have, that's also welcome as well. So GNCweekly.com/connect. Okay. All right. So with that being said, now we're going to jump into news from this week. And this is we're leading up to earlier about Samsung. Now, this is our top story of the week. Right. So from geeknewscentral.com, Andrew reported, Andrew is on the Geek News Central running team, reported that on Wednesday was the Galaxy Unpacked 2020 online event, which broadcasted live from South Korea, I believe. And the event showcased new Samsung's smartphones, tablet, earbuds, and smartwatch. And this live stream, if anyone caught the live stream, I'm sure you can catch on YouTube or wherever, but it was really historical, and we're going to jump in that shortly. But they announced the Galaxy Note 20 as a 6.7-inch screen. The Note 20 Ultra is almost 7 inches. Both have
so back to the old phablet size,
right? both have 120 hertz refresh screen and uses the fastest processor in the Galaxy lineup. Cameras, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 108 megapixel standard, 12 megapixel telephoto, and 10 megapixel selfie. Charging 50% in 30 minutes. The Galaxy Note 20 is $999, and Note 20 Ultra $1,299. Ouch. It comes in colors Mystic Black, Mystic White, Mystic Bronze, which is a very odd color, Mystic Green, and Mystic Gray. Also, they announced they're partnering with Microsoft, and I'm sure Scott's loving this, and I'm sure he is. They're offering, Samsung is partnering with Microsoft to offer an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate Bundle for the Galaxy Note 20. That includes PowerA's MOGA XP5-X Plus Bluetooth controller, or as a clip. It's a clip that holds your phone in place, and 3 months of Game Pass Ultimate service, which usually costs $15 per month. The bundle will be available on August 21st. You'll get a $150 Samsung credit if you pre-order the Note 20, and you can use that towards the bundle. When xCloud goes live on Game Pass Ultimate on September 15th, you'll be able to download a dedicated Game Pass from the Galaxy Store. There's the Galaxy Tab S7.
This is your bundle if you're watching live. This is, give or take, this is your bundle. The controller is an Xbox controller instead of the Moga. But basically, this is your bundle. This is what playing with Game Pass is going to look like. So you'll have your phone up top. There's a clip that clips to the back of the controller, allows you to hold the phone, and then you play with the controller. It's important to note that Game Pass is only going to be Android,
right?
Because Apple has been really annoying, and
we'll discuss that a little bit later because Apple's got some balls. So we'll get into that in a little bit. Also, they also announced the Galaxy Tab S7 and the 7S Plus. The S7 has a 11-inch LCD screen, and the S7 Plus is a 12.4 AMOLED screen with the same 120 hertz refresh rate of the Note 20. The S Pen works in the tablets with similar low latency, I know, and the Tab S7 comes with 3 apps that are designed to maximize use of the S Pen. Now, with the Galaxy Tab, the Galaxy Tab out, I know they had one, was it 2 years ago? And the tablets they are out, Android tablets aren't really selling as well. I think Apple, their iPads dominated the market. No,
it's definitely Apple and Windows that are owning tablets. There's I don't even see there used to be a big influx of cheap Android tablets.
Right.
I'm not seeing those anymore either.
Right.
You can't go to CVS and pay $69 for an Android tablet anymore. You used to be able to, but you just don't see them anymore. It's really just the big boys, and it's only some of them.
And I have a Kindle Fire, so I'm loving it. So it's
which in fairness is its own special beast. They are the only theoretically Android powered, but they can't use the Android powered logo.
Right.
Tablet that sells well, but that's because of the Fire ecosystem, which didn't help the Fire phone, but it helps everything else.
But the good thing is you can, if you really want to get into it, which I'm not, is sideload the Google Play services, but I'm not going to do it. but that's a pain in the butt. So, all right. So let's dig in a little more here. Also, they announced the Galaxy Buds Live, or the someone said Galaxy Beans.
Yes, the Galaxy Beans. So there was a leak. I think it was Saturday. Samsung accidentally put up the support page for these way ahead of time, and every tech outlet ran a headline similar to Samsung spills the beans on their new earbuds.
It's all that.
Because it's the only thing you can see. It's a pinto bean. They even chose the right colors.
Right.
So goofy looking.
Oh my goodness. They come in Mystic Bronze, which if you saw the live, or we can catch a replay on YouTube and elsewhere. White and black. They're matching the phones and tablets. They also come with active noise cancellation. Battery life is 6 hours, and the case can charge the earbuds for a total of 21 hours listening time. There's the Galaxy Watch 3. It's coming in two sizes, 45 millimeter and 41 millimeter. And also there's 3 colors. The watch comes with health monitoring blood pressure, ECG, and blood oxygen level once regulatory approvals have been gained in each country. They have activity tracking for walking, running, and running and other sports. There's over 120 fitness programs work with Watch 3 and work with Samsung Watch 3, and Samsung Smart TVs. Beginning yesterday, August 6th, the Galaxy 41 millimeter and 45 millimeter options. It's $400 for the 41 millimeter and $430 respectively. Wow.
And it's important to note that it has sleep tracking.
There you go.
Just if you're watching, I'm just putting it out there. The Galaxy Watch 3 has sleep tracking. Somebody needs to wake up a little bit.
Right.
Unintended.
Unintended, right. And there's the Galaxy Z Fold 2. It's thinner than the Fold, the original Fold. It has a 6.2 exterior screen, but once opened up, it's 7.6 inside. The hinge has been analyzed and improved, and it's only available in 2 colors, Mystic Black and Mystic Bronze. And
no white phone for you.
There's no white, right? Yeah. So here's where we're at right now, because first of all, they didn't announce the pricing for, well, exception of the Galaxy Note, the Notes. That's a crazy amount. They didn't announce any prices for the Galaxy Tabs. They didn't announce anything for the Galaxy Bud. So now the presentation, I know that it was completely scripted. It was supposedly, quote unquote, if you're watching me live, air quotes, live. It was scripted to the point where it was like they're talking robotic, and if you're watching live, it's like you have one person here and another person like a couple of inches away, and but also when they were doing the demos in the beginning, they had one of the leadership people, and the camera goes down, and they had this wide monitor, not a monitor, I guess it's a screen with Samsung members holding up emojis.
I wish I could remember. Abrams got a story. I wish I marked which episode he told it in of his favorite Samsung weird press conference.
Like I said, the best one was when they were in New York and it was like a Broadway musical. That was like a hand the hand to the head moment.
My favorite might be from 2014 when Michael Bay just walked off stage.
Oh yeah.
I had forgotten about that one.
You're right.
But if you search for Samsung press conference fails, the whole first page is nothing but that. And I had definitely forgotten about it. But yeah, That might be it.
Oh, it was like, and again with the the clapping was so awkward, and it's like when he said, "How do you feel about that?" And they had a shot of all the screen and all these Samsung members. They were like, I mean, you can hear crickets.
Yeah, it's certainly these virtual things are unfortunate because they don't have the reaction.
Right. Exactly. And that goes back to, again with CES, it's like, that I mean, not necessarily the wow factor, but seeing things like in person. I know you guys, watch the coverage, but to see it in person, but also like the reaction, especially again, like you said, Scott, with the products you saw, and you were just like, it was genuine. I mean, it was completely like unrehearsed. It was like a lot of the products that I've seen as well. I was like, wait, what? What was that? But it's like, but this presentation, I mean, granted, I understand the parameters and I get that, but Samsung's press conferences and events are just like, oh, and like I said, Twitter was blowing up about it.
Their general marketing's a problem. I think we'll all remember David Beckham doing a press conference after a game, and his phone rings and he won't pick it up because he had an iPhone in his hand, but he was the face of Samsung. Whoops.
Oh boy.
Anyway, but it's there's a lot of expansion of the Microsoft partnership.
Yep.
There's the X Cloud, which I expected. I already put that out there that was going to be part of the press conference. I wasn't expecting the Android app thing, which I have used and it works really well. You've got to be a Windows insider for it to work, but it works and it works really well. As does the wireless DeX works really well. So, they're almost making DeX something.
Right.
It's not exactly something, but they're getting closer. So that partnership has expanded to really make, the variation between your computer and your phone lessened, which was the point of Continuum in the first place. They just couldn't get anybody to buy into it. But now they've got Samsung bought into it, and that's good. So
yeah,
it's lots of new capabilities. So
yeah. Awesome. Well, we'll see what goes on. I'm curious to see how much some of these products are. I'm definitely curious, especially, and I guarantee that Samsung, the Galaxy Tab, aren't going to fare very well. I can just.
They haven't in years. In fairness, they haven't in the West. They do in the East. So that's their target demo for that one. Anyway.
Right. All right. Moving right along. All right.
Let's talk about more Twitter security problems.
There you go. Maybe there's some good news out of this. Maybe on Wednesday, Twitter had announced that it fixed a security vulnerability in the Twitter for Android app that could have allowed attackers to gain access to users' private Twitter data, including direct messages. Twitter explains in quote, "We recently discovered and fixed a vulnerability in Twitter for Android related to underlying Android OS security issue affecting OS versions 8 and 9. For the other 4%, this vulnerability could allow an attacker through a malicious app installed on your device to access private Twitter data on your device, like direct messages, by working around Android system permissions that protect against this. According to the company, there is no evidence yet that Twitter for Android vulnerability was exploited by attackers. There's also the company, besides fixing the issue in Twitter for Android, they're adding, quote, extra safety precautions beyond standard OS protection. The company is also requiring anyone that may be impacted to update Twitter for Android, send in-app notices to everyone who could have been vulnerable to let them know if they need to do anything, identifying changes to our process to better guard against issues like this. And Twitter also urges, which I checked my phone because I think this happened on Wednesday. I got a app or a notification that said that it had we recently had a security issue. We realized we see that you're on Android, latest Android update. So I had to do anything. Yay. Twitter urges all Android users to update Twitter for Android for release version, that fixes the vulnerability on all the devices. And the company says maybe they're breathing a sigh of relief. Maybe this is probably why this is some good news that the issue didn't impact Twitter for iOS or Twitter.com.
So essentially what it was a vulnerability in Android that Twitter patched their app against. Now, here's the important thing. We don't know who else is using, what other apps are using this same storage method that could have caused problems for other services.
Okay.
So that's important to know. If you are still running on Android 8 or 9, there's apparently some security workaround that can get to your storage, your theoretically sandboxed app storage, which is scary. And Twitter knows about it and fixed it. Hopefully they've let Google know so they can let other app developers know that this vulnerability exists. But it, the comment is about OS level protections being violated. So if you're on 8 or 9 and you have the ability to go to 10, you should anyway.
Right.
But this security issue should be enough. If you have the ability to go to 10, go to 10.
Yeah. I'm on 10. So like I said, I got the notification it was on Wednesday, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm good, and I had nothing to worry about. But I'm like, at least this is only just like a very small little thing, and it's not like a massive like
tweeting from Joe Biden's account. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
$113,000 stolen from unwitting. Send me Bitcoin and I'll send it back to you.
Right.
What part of that sounds legit?
Right.
Especially from a presidential candidate.
Right. And
anyway.
Okay. Next time next time Joe Biden says, folks, drink.
Oh, that'll kill you. Okay. I want to know about this DoorDash thing.
All right, very good. All right, so on DoorDash on Wednesday announced the launch of a chain of virtual convenience stores the company is calling DashMart, which will sell snacks, groceries, and other food-related products from partner restaurants. These stores don't have brick and mortar locations. Instead, they exist solely on the DoorDash app, kind of like a ghost kitchen for a CVS or 7-Eleven instead. Right now, the company says DashMart is available in 8 cities in the U.S., Chicago, Illinois, Columbus, Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, Dallas, Texas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, the Greater Phoenix, Arizona area, I'm getting like, this is a weird.
It's one of those nights. We knew it was going to be a weird night.
Arizona area, Salt Lake City, Utah, and Redwood City, California. But DoorDash is planning to expand that to more locations in the future, starting with a broader rollout in California and the inclusion of Denver and Baltimore to its list of supported city markets. According to its press release, these DashMart stores are, quote, owned, operated, and curated by DoorDash.
But if they're a virtual store, they're not owned. They're okay. So it's a it's a ghost kitchen. It's a concept. So essentially what they're doing is they're curating stuff that's easy to procure no matter where they are. So nothing house branded, no CVS or Walgreens branded stuff, but you'd probably be able to get national brand stuff, M&Ms, and so wherever they're passing by, that has inventory, they can pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
I would bet money that's how that's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's a clever idea. Don't worry about where you're getting them from. That's our problem. You're getting them from us. We'll get them for you.
Right. At a cost, though.
Of course, it's DoorDash. There's going to be a delivery cost and there's going to be a markup. But I mean, especially right now, the idea is to avoid stores. That's always my idea because I don't like people. But
yeah. Well, my thing is I want to get in and get out, so I can't go into a store. Lately, though, there's a lot of times when I want to go into a store when I see the I mean, I understand with the masks, and I'm not going to be a Karen.
I believe for a guy, it's a Chad.
Chad. Oh, okay. Well, I heard Chad. I heard Darren.
Darren. oh, because it's a dude, Karen. That's funny.
Right.
That's funny.
I'm not gonna go into yeah, but I want to get in, get out. So I mean, that's all my whole thing is. I just can't do stores. It just like drives me like want to drink. And I don't want to do that. But but I think that I always wondered like why. I guess the convenience is that the items are available. You'll definitely get it, but it's like I guess there's some people that wouldn't mind paying for that quote unquote convenience. Does that make sense?
I do it for groceries.
Okay.
But obviously that's a significantly bigger purchase. I'm not gonna call out for a pack of M&Ms or or a Hershey's, since that's the shirt you're wearing.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna call out for a $1.25 candy bar, but for $100, $150 in groceries, yeah, I'll pay an extra $6 to not have to get out of my chair. Right. I'm good with that. Right. But I'm not gonna do it for little convenience stuff. That's kind of weird. But if they've got there's a lot of Uber drivers that drive around with certain candies and stuff in their car just as an extra part of their revenue, which is a clever idea. If DoorDash figures out that there's 16 things that people regularly do and they can just stock them in the driver's cars, okay, there might be a way to do that efficiently and cost efficiently.
Right, but like you said though, would you really want to for $1.25 candy bar? Would you, you have a $1.25 candy bar, DoorDash is probably $5 or $6, what have you. But I can see it. But if it's multiple products, again, going back to the convenience, convenience factor of it, maybe that's a good idea.
Or picking up, I mean, this isn't what they're talking about, but some standard type medications, Tylenol and things like that,
right?
Something like that. When we were in Vegas, my mother would have loved it.
Right.
Right. If she could have just had it, we didn't have to leave the studio to go get it for her.
Yeah, well, that's something
which is
that
exactly what we did. Actually, Linda happened to. Okay, here's the idea of having a couple of things on hand. Linda happened to have. Linda is our PR rep, our press rep. She works right below us, right below our studio. Linda happened to have some cold medicine in her office, which she gave to my mother, which is how she got through Wednesday and then didn't come back. But that's how she got through Wednesday, is Linda happened to have medication. We were going to leave and go get her some medicine. Linda's like, no, I got some. Hold on.
Okay.
Here you go.
Wait, Linda's the black hair woman, tall,
very, very tall. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, who's Linda? Yeah. Now I know you're talking about. Okay.
I love Linda. She's wonderful.
She's awesome. I funny too.
Yes.
She's a funny lady. She's a funny lady. I'm out of people I'm really bummed, and that's one of the reasons I'm going to miss her. See?
Yeah. Her in particular. Of all the people from the CTA, and we get to interact with a lot of them, but of all the people from the CTA, Linda's the one I'm going to miss. seeing this year. I already texted her that day. I'm like, oh, sad. She goes, I know.
Oh, we're gonna be lamenting about this. We're gonna be lamenting this for another year, for a year and 6 months.
Yeah. I have missed one in my career, and it left a hole. And doing it again forced is going to be really weird. But, oh well. But so that proves the idea that there are certain items maybe that change throughout the year, but there are certain items that could be stocked by a DoorDash driver that would mean that they don't have to break their path or do something special.
Right.
And so if DoorDash is buying them in bulk and getting them to their drivers, maybe they've only got a couple of drivers in each market that are part of this virtual whatever that are holding a little bit of inventory in their trunk.
Yeah. Okay. That would make sense.
So in that case, maybe they can do it for barely over retail price and still be able to deliver it and still be able to make money on it for everybody. So there's a possibility that they can make this work.
Yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, I think that would make sense. So we'll see what happens. But but why isn't there any DoorDash around? I mean, DashMart around here? Okay.
Why Columbus, Ohio?
All the
weird places.
Let's see. Blueberries in Columbus.
Fair enough. But I mean, the list of cities: Cincinnati and Columbus, Ohio, and Salt Lake City. What weird cities to choose.
Well, in California,
I bet it has to do with where DoorDash has the most pull, where people are putting in the most orders.
Maybe
it could be. Maybe Uber Eats doesn't have a huge face there, or what's the other one? Oh, with the P. Maybe they're not as heavily trafficked in that area. Maybe DoorDash that's like their big markets. So we're already here. Let's do it.
Well, in Dallas, Texas, there's a lot of companies that are based there. And I think Postmates. Okay, good, because I knew what you're talking about. It was on the tip of my tongue. So you got it.
Yeah, the Dallas Fort Worth area is like the home for every major retailer.
And major telecommunications companies also.
True.
So that's probably that kind of gives you an idea of why it's there. But some of the areas are not so much.
Columbus and Cincinnati.
Exactly.
Those were the two. When you said it, I was like, really? A couple of these things don't match.
Yeah, like I said, if that's the case, I'm going to give it a shot. If it comes around this little neck of the woods, I'll give it a go.
At least be able to go into the app and look and see what it looks like. What does it cost to do this? And I cannot wait to do an analysis on that. We will talk about that if it ever shows up in one of our areas.
Deal. All right, we're going to jump into some somewhat Apple news. This is going to get real.
This is a topic that we have been talking about on F5 Live for like a year and a half.
Yep, I've been following it. So Facebook is joining Microsoft in condemning Apple's App Store policies. The Facebook is launching its Facebook gaming app for iOS, primarily an app used to watch streamers play video games, but has had to remove the app because app's mini game, feature that has Apple's strict App Store approval process. Not surprisingly, Facebook and a lot of people is not happy about the compromise. Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg said in a press statement given to The Verge, quote, "Unfortunately, we had to remove gameplay functionality entirely in order to get Apple's approval on the standalone Facebook gaming app, meaning iOS users have an inferior experience to those using Android. We're stayed focused on building communities for the more than 300 million people who play games on Facebook every month, whether Apple allows it in the standalone app or not." Facebook says it has had the Facebook gaming app rejected multiple times by Apple in recent months. The company says Apple has cited App Store guideline 4.7 to justify rejections, claiming the primary purpose of the Facebook gaming app is to play games. Facebook says it shares usage data from its Android Facebook gaming app. It showed 95% of activity watching streams, but this doesn't change Apple's stance, and Apple's got some balls. They got some balls.
And this is a topic. The App Store has been a topic that has been, and not just Apple's, Google's too,
Right.
but much less so. But the tight control that they take, and the fact that Apple doesn't allow side loading, is what gets them in the biggest trouble. So, in addition to Microsoft, Google, and Facebook all writing official complaints to Apple this week, all on the same topic, because Google Stadia is also not available for iOS for the same reason that these two are not going to have full functionality, because Apple can't individually list and individually control each game, even though each game is individually listed and individually rated by the ESRB. On top of it, you've got Telegram, the messaging app, filed suit in the EU against Apple last week over this topic, last Thursday, I think. In June, the EU's antitrust filed suit against Apple over this. It's nobody's happy about it. And when you think about, their revenue comes from 30%, and if you're Microsoft, you're not doing your monthly subscription through the app, you're not purchasing games through the app, you're doing it all through the subscription, so Apple doesn't get a cut. It's 100% to do with the fact that Apple wants $4.50 per month from Game Pass subscribers. And Microsoft doesn't want to give it up. That I guarantee, if Microsoft said, you can take your 30% on the monthly subscription, Apple will be like, yep, we'll make it work. We'll figure out how to make the rules work. If Facebook said, the gaming revenue, you'll get 30%, Apple will be like, let's make it happen. But nobody's willing to do it because it's a policy that sucks.
Right. And they've been really like, well, Google's been just as strict on their what apps can be chosen, selected, but Apple, the app, I mean, they're really like, Apple's been, the apps, their policies are so like there's draconian, but also not only that. I remember this was like about a month or two ago, where Podcast Addict was submitting their had put an update an update for the app. I can't remember exactly what the app was, the update was, and Apple just basically wouldn't accept it, and
the update wasn't the problem. There was no specific content in the update that was the problem. It was the fact that there were episodes listed in Podcast Addict that were about COVID-19 that weren't produced by official doctor, official listed things, which is basically state-run medical news, which is the only thing that they'll allow.
You're right.
And
I thought it was an update. You're right.
And they were doing an update, but the update wasn't the problem.
Right. No, you're right. It was about COVID.
It was doing the update, put it through the approval process, which is what got him in trouble. And it was resolved by the end of the day. Everybody was pissed. But
including
Podcast Addict and Apple had a conversation by the end of the day, and everybody understood what happened and what needed to happen they were listed wrong in the App Store is essentially what happened.
Okay, because you're right.
Was it Apple or Google? Doesn't matter. Whoever it was. Yeah, there was a conversation that was had. Everybody involved knew what had gone wrong and what they needed to do to fix it. Okay. Eventually, they did.
Okay, but yeah, but even still, I mean, it was
But
like the blowback just from that alone was like. But again, it's like this has been going on, without. I mean, they're with their revenue share, they're it's like astronomical, and that's why I don't get it. I mean, I know you guys. I mean, I've been keeping an eye on this for a year as well, over a year, and I know I've seen, watched the coverage.
We talk about it way too frequently.
Oh, absolutely. I'm just like bewildered. A multi like billion dollar company, and it's like these policies are just like are too much. They're like. That's why when you have I mean, I'm not an Android fanboy, but I use their products, but I'm like, honestly, it's like, I haven't heard Google have not heard of this being like that with.
Yeah, no, Google, Google doesn't care.
Right.
In fact, they have a reactive policy as opposed to Apple that has a proactive policy. Apple checks every app as it's updated and decides yes or no if it's going into the store. Google allows everything into the store and says, uh-oh, and pulls things later, which is a very different policy.
That's true.
Right. It's a very different take on what's going on. It's the reason why there's a lot more crap in the Google Play Store.
True.
True. But there's malware stuff. There's there are big other problems in the Google Play Store.
Right.
But those problems, it's a give or take. Apple is super tightly controlled. It's very very draconian in its implementation of things, and Google is very like laissez-faire. Just you do what you do, and we'll respond if things go wrong.
Right. Right.
But they both require, if you want to use their services, they both require a huge cut of in-app purchases, which is the reason why Epic Games side-loaded their Fortnite mobile onto Android originally. Because they were trying to get around it. It's the reason why the Fire tablet, which you held up earlier, doesn't use Google Play services.
Right.
Because they're trying to help developers get around that. So, there's ups and downs everywhere. Personally, I like Microsoft's policy that it's only 10% and you're not required to use it.
Right.
You can use our in-app purchase process. We don't care if you don't. If you're Netflix and you want to use your own thing, whatevs. Don't care. Right. If you want to use our thing, great. If you don't, great. Don't care. Right. I think that's the way to go. Yeah. It'll decrease revenue, but it'll make the user experience better. And the first of the two that understand that and accept it will take over.
Right. Well, we got some other Google news in a little bit. So another side of Apple news, Apple has upgraded its iMac range. The 27-inch model now offers 10th-gen Intel Core i5 processors with 6 or 8 cores at 3.1 gigahertz or 3.3 gigahertz, or a Core i7 with 8 cores and a 3.8 gigahertz clock speed that bursts to 5 gigahertz. Apple specs suggest that the Core i5 on offer are the model 10500 and 10600, but the specs offered for the i7 match. No products mentioned on Intel's ARC list, which mentions the 10700 and 10700KF is offering the 8 cores, a base speed of 3.8 gigahertz that Apple advertises. The Core i5 models offer the Radeon Pro 5300 GPU, and the i7 equipped machine adopts the Radeon Pro 5500 XT. There's also an option to add what Apple calls a, quote, nano texture glass option that enhances brightness, colors, and contrast, and has previously only graced Apple's $4,999 Pro Display XDR. It's a $500 addition to the new 27-inch. The iMac Pro now offers a 10 core 3.0 gigahertz Xeon as its base configuration. The 21-inch Mac has gained solid state discs are standard. Prices start at $1,099 for the 21-inch, $1,799 for 27-inch, and $4,999 for the iMac Pro. Again,
it's nothing compared to the cheese grater.
Right. And I don't know if you saw that they're offering the wheels for like $500.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Holy
for the cheese grater? Yeah.
Holy crow. Oh boy, yikes. All right, well, so we're going to move aside for Apple now. So now we got some Google news coming. Google has introduced a new way for Android users to protect crucial files like ID documents, particularly in developing countries where devices are often shared. It's called Safe Folder, and it can be located in the Files by Google app. It lets you protect documents, images, videos, and audio files with a forwarded PIN code on top of your Android lock screen security. The folder is locked as soon as you switch away from the Files app and requires a code each time you re-enter. According to Google's Next Billion Users product team, that's a very weird name for a product team, quote, sharing a personal device with spouses, siblings, or children is often a cultural expectation, especially for women. To that end, it created a feature for parents who share their phones with their kids for learning or play, or folks who need to securely store identity documents on their phones. I like this, and my wife and I have separate phones. So God forbid something happens to me, and she needs to get into my phone. I like this idea. I think it's a good idea to keep things secure, private, and not being spread it amongst its masses.
It's basically the same idea as the OneDrive private vault, which is exactly how I use this. This is how I use the private vault myself. I've got my driver's license and things like that scanned in there because sometimes you need those for things out in the wild and you don't want to get your wallet out, or God, your wallet's out in the living room and you're in the office and you don't want to stand up, or you have to submit a photo of it. That happens a lot too. Right. So I use the private vault literally for this on OneDrive. So it's really a great idea. And the Next Billion Users team, I know it sounds like a weird name. Basically, Google's intention is for its next billion users to be in developing countries and emerging markets. And so the features that the emerging markets and developing countries users need are different than what you and I need, because you and your wife don't share a phone, right? But in emerging markets, it's pretty common to share a single phone among a family. So this gives you the ability to have a safe folder with a PIN. And theoretically, I would assume you can have multiple safe folders with multiple pins is probably the way this works, so that you can protect just your personal stuff from other shared users on the device, which I think is a great idea, which makes it a little different than the vault. But I think that's a great idea. Not for you and I necessarily, but for emerging markets and stuff, for Android. What do they call it? Android One.
Android One.
I think it's going to be a big feature for the Android One for the emerging market devices. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think Android One. This was like 3 or 4 years ago, and I remember they announced it, and I got it, and but I think it's a good idea. Like again, I think with God forbid something happens. I mean, not necessarily. Other markets or other countries. But for me, I think I'll give it definitely apply it, because I mostly have a lot of stuff that's saved as far as emergency contact information. So, so that way, in case something happens, it's there. So
absolutely.
I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right, very good. All right, other Google news, and I'm like, whatever. Google Play Music has been given a death sentence by Google,
About time.
right, and Google
They've been stringing it along for way too long.
right for a long time, and they've announced a little more detail about how its execution will be carried out. The main message from blog posts from Google is, quote, back up your music now. As Google says, will wipe out all Google Music collections in December 2020. They said a lot of people have known it's been shut down sometime this year, but for most regions, Google has narrowed it down to October. In late August, don't know when late August, users will no longer be able to upload or download music through Music Manager. Pre-orders and purchases we shut down. In September, if you're listening in New Zealand and South Africa, it's going to be shut down. Then in October, global streaming shut down. The Google Music app and website will cease to be. And in December, music collections get deleted. So if you want to save your music collection from deletion, it's not that difficult. I'll have a link up in the show. We'll have a link up in the show notes on gncweekly.com. From this in the show notes, I'll show you how to go on how to transfer. And there's also a Windows and Mac application under the Google's Music Manager. I don't use Google Music. I have Amazon. So by the way, with Amazon, sponsor of Plug It's Live. So it's Plug It's Live /Prime, or is it F5 Live?
Plugitslive.com/prime will get you there.
All right, cool. Okay, so if you want to go there, you can get.
If you've not used Prime Music, try it. We've got a link to it. Try it out. If you have Prime, it's free, which is nice, but it's a limited collection, which is okay. I use it. I use Spotify. I'm kind of all over. It's okay. So if you're a Google Play Music user now, basically what they're doing is they're transferring you over to YouTube Music, which is okay. They're very similar. And if you have been putting off the transfer because YouTube Music did not support the one feature that made Google Play Music special, the ability to upload your own music to the service and stream it from any device, YouTube Music now has that feature.
Okay.
And the transfer will bring your music from Google Play over to YouTube. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
So because that was one of the reasons that I used Groove for so long, was because I could put my own music into the catalog and it would work. It would stream. I could upload it from my computer, and then I've got my phone out in the wild. I'm playing on Groove. I can switch to stuff that I had uploaded, which is a feature I loved. I definitely miss. But Google Play Music had it. YouTube did not. Now it does. Huzzah! And the transfer is supposed to carry that stuff over. So those of you that are holding out on the transfer, you don't have to anymore. You can do it, and you need to, because very shortly it'll all be gone.
Yeah, and if you're watching live on the live, I put on the lower third at plugitslive.com/prime. I've been having Amazon Prime Music, and I love it. I toy with Google Play, and the one thing as far as like their quote unquote algorithm, it's like I listen from music from one spectrum to the other, and the selection isn't really. It's I don't know. I mean, Amazon Prime's got like literally. I mean, I'm not. This is not my sponsor, so I'm trying to plug plugitslive.com/prime, but I'm going to try to plug it as much as I can. But all honesty, I mean, it's got a great selection. I mean,
it does.
I mean, it really has if I'm searching for something totally obscure, I can't find it in Google Play Music. But the Amazon, I can look for it, but I'm pleased. But I mean, I'm not gonna.
And the Amazon Music, which is different than the Amazon Prime Music, which is okay. The Prime Music has a more limited selection, but even there, I've found impressive stuff. And we used it for a convention one time. We were having a private cast party when he did music. I'm like, whoop, I've got an idea. Amazon Prime is a new sponsor. I'm going to try out Prime Music right here and now. We put it on, and almost nothing that anybody asked for wasn't there except for video game music, and that makes sense.
Right.
But
Right.
which is where I had it uploaded to Groove, which is, but it really is it's a great service. So was Google Play Music was a little rough. YouTube Music has fixed most of the rough edges. So YouTube Music is really a better thing. A lot of people were holding off because it was missing that important feature. It's not anymore. You're almost done. It's almost over. Get out. Like a rat from a sinking ship, get off.
Pass go. Do not click.
Yeah, because it is a sinking ship. Get off of it. Do not go down with the ship. You are not the captain.
I'm going to, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give YouTube Music a go. I'm going to give it a go. What I will do is I will give it a week or two. And what I will do is I'll report back.
Okay. And if you do the YouTube, it used to be called YouTube Red. It's not anymore. YouTube Ultimate maybe now. If you do a trial on YouTube, you get usually you get the little thing that says, "Hey, you want a month of free whatever trial?" If you sign up for that trial, you get YouTube Music for free in there.
Oh, okay. Why have you? Okay, so
and it will continue playing videos after you turn off your Android screen.
Huh. Okay.
Which regular YouTube will not. Okay. Honest to God, that's a reason to subscribe.
Okay. All right. Well, I will make my I'll make my commitment to everybody, to you, to the audience. I'll give it a go.
I'm one of those people that likes to try things. And when they made the announcement that they were finally retiring Google Play Music, which those of us in the podcasting space has known was coming for ages, because they keep telling us don't bother uploading your podcast to Google Play Music because we're shutting it down.
Right. That's why
So we've known that's been coming for a while. So once they finally said we're rebranding everything, YouTube Red's going away, it's going to be YouTube Pro and YouTube Ultimate or something like that, and Ultimate's got music built in and whatever all the weirdness was, I was like, all right, it's time to finally try it. Right. And it's, especially on an Android device, it's good. It's a good service. Okay.
Well, again, I'll make my commitment here and now. Mark it down the calendar. I'll give it a go, and I will report back in a couple weeks. Okay. All right. In video, well, this is continuing on with more Google news, and we're going to dip into some video streaming news. Google has injected a new cinematic slideshow above the top row of apps in the Android TV interface to make it easier to find content you might like. It will contain curated TV shows, movies, and app recommendations from Google, as well as sponsored content. Google says, quote, that each source will be clearly labeled in the content, giving user transparency so that users can differentiate between curated content. Again, this is one of these nights.
Yes, it is.
Between curated recommendations and paid advertisements, and it will contain only media and entertainment related content. If you pause on one of the items, it'll start playing a preview, just like Netflix TV app does. The other update arriving on Android TV is a rework subscription flow that makes it easier to subscribe to paid subscriptions like TV streaming services, where you normally have to grab your phone to complete the process or painstakingly using your remote to fill out your credentials. The new edition lets you authorize a payment and automatically sets up a subscription by linking your Google account from Android TV with just a few clicks. Woohoo! That's awesome.
Maybe woohoo, because maybe that's an in-app purchase, and maybe they're taking 20% of it, and maybe you're going to see subscription prices start going up because of it.
Okay, then.
So maybe woohoo. Because this is the reason why if you subscribe to YouTube Pro on Apple, they canceled your subscription about 2 months ago.
Okay, well, again, good thing out of Apple, and I will take back my woohoo.
Because of the 30%. They said, we're canceling your subscription. Here's a link. If you want to resubscribe after your thing, we're doing it outside of Apple. But they still have their 20% in-app purchase thing, which might apply to this for the developers. So they may or may not buy into it. The developers may or may not support this. If they do, it means they're not taking the cut. If they don't, it means they are.
Okay.
So if Android TV does not see Netflix add subscribe now button, then they're taking their percentage and you won't see anybody use it except Google. Boy. So we'll have to see what it means.
Right. Again, for the hat trick, then I'll for the hat trick, I'll retract my woohoo. All right. Another video streaming news. Roku's has helped again by a stay-at-home streaming service during the helped again. Oh my, get this together. Helped again by stay-at-home streaming during the coronavirus. Thank you. Pandemic.
Gotcha.
Topped Wall Street earnings estimates for the second year of 2020 and saw streaming hours skyrocket a whopping 65% year over year.
And that's without Peacock and HBO Max.
Right. To be continued. Roku added 3.2 million incremental active accounts in Q2, and to reach 43 million, up 41% year over year, while streaming hours increased 2.3 billion hours over last quarter to 14.6 billion. According to the company, streaming hours peaked in mid Q2, but remain higher than pre-pandemic levels. CEO Anthony Wood and CFO Steve Loudon wrote in their Q2 letter to shareholders, quote, Roku and our partners also saw a surge in growth for AVOD, SVOD, and TVOD. So if you don't know what AV is, it's if I get the words out, AVOD is I know streaming video on demand. AVOD is
AVOD is ad-based video on demand.
Okay, and TVOD is TV on demand?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. All right. As economic pressures cause advertisers to further reevaluate how much and where to invest in media dollars, Roku delivered strong growth in our ad business, particularly relative to the overall TV ad market that was down. Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. And I don't think there's no way in the next quarter that Peacock and HBO Max, because HBO Max, there was other news about HBO Max that during a little bit of restructuring, and they bringing in a new CEO, and so
it didn't take long.
No, it was like it broke. I think I saw it broke. I think today, early this afternoon, it broke that they were doing some changes, but
not surprising. And not surprising that they'd announce it going into the weekend, so people will forget.
Yeah, because the Friday dump, the Friday news dump, usually they just it's just like a distant memory. So there's no way that HBO. I'll be pleasantly surprised in next quarter that if even HBO Max and Peacock comes to the scintilla of these. I will eat this microphone.
I read an article 2 weeks ago, I think, that was titled something like Roku can stop pretending it's still a what's the word I'm looking for? Not arbitrary, non-involved platform, a flat play platform. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm not going to get there. But
I can't.
Essentially, the idea was that Roku is playing in the content game now. They're requiring certain companies to ask permission before they can be on the platform, which was not the case in the past. We don't matter. You and I could could build a Roku app and publish it tomorrow, and Roku wouldn't care. But they're not looking for a piece of our pie.
Right.
They're looking for a piece of the pie from Comcast and AT&T
and Spectrum.
So that's why we're not seeing those two on there in particular, because they're looking for a piece of the pie is what this suspicion is. They're too big for Roku to not want part of it. So,
and Quibi is going to
nobody wants a piece of that, including Meg Whitman, the CEO.
Right. Oh boy!
I keep going back to it. Reno 911's there. It's the only reason I have any interest in it. Well, that and Meg Whitman. I was very interested in that, but when she didn't show up at CES.
See, we're going to be. This is the 6 degrees of CES going to be popping up for a year and a half.
Well, they were supposed to be on the show. Quibi was supposed to be on the show, and they never showed.
Oh, I would have loved to be in.
I had specifically actually asked if Meg could make it, because I was particularly interested in meeting her, because I've been a big fan of hers for a long time. She turned eBay around, she turned HP around. She's a very talented person.
Right.
And so I was curious how she had gotten herself involved in this obvious dumpster fire.
I was going to say steaming pile of.
Yeah. I knew in January that it wasn't going to be a good thing. So I specifically wanted to ask her, how did you get involved in this? And where do you think you separate yourself? And I wanted to hear her go, I don't know.
And was the gun?
I was tricked into it.
Was the gun pointed at you? And how much money did you get from
it? Was your reputation really that damaged from HP?
Yikes! All right, so another popping news of trades did well. Disney did well. That popped as much as 10% early trading on Wednesday, as investors rallied around the media conglomerate's fastest growing streaming footprint and aggressive.
A little bit of both.
Right. An aggressive expansion strategy. Disney on Tuesday reported that its direct-to-consumer streaming services collectively surpassed 100 million paid subscribers worldwide. That includes 60.5 million for Disney Plus as of August 3rd, just under 9 months after the service first took flight, and hitting a target the company had previously forecast reaching by 2024. The film version of Hamilton and Beyonce's Black is King visual album provided accelerant for Disney Plus signing up last month. Investors were also buoyed on Disney's plans to release its Mulan live action remake on December 4th on Disney Plus, priced at $29.99 a pop.
Yes, you heard that right. Right. You heard that right. $30 in addition to having Disney Plus for this movie alone.
Right. So the on top of the $6.99 monthly subscription fee, though CEO Bob Chapek called the release strategy a one-off, whatever that means. So
they're not planning on doing it often.
Right. Okay.
They're not changing their business model. Which is different from Universal, who said, we are willing to consider changing our business model, and went so far as to renegotiate their deal with AMC theaters to allow them to consider changing their business model, because they were banned from AMC theaters. So what Disney is saying is, oh, AMC, please don't make us go through what you made Universal go through. This is a one-time thing. We're not changing our business model. You can keep the 60-day window. We don't care.
Didn't they change their didn't it change from 60 days supposedly to 17 or something like that?
It went from 60 days post closing to 14 days post opening. Okay. Which is huge. The theaters only get a 2-week exclusive on it.
Right. Okay.
It used to be the movie had to be out of theaters for 60 days.
Okay.
Now it only has to be in theaters for 14.
Oh, okay.
Okay. That is a huge change. I can't believe AMC agreed to it. But the point is, Universal had to fight real hard for it, and Disney's going, not looking to shake the boat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep the agreement we have in place. This is a one-time thing. We spent a lot of money on this, and we know that kind of nobody cares anyway. So we're here.
Right. Yeah. But also as far as the subscriber base jumped, and there's a lot of talk, with Hamilton that people were raving about it. I don't have Disney Plus, so I don't know. Have you seen it or do you have?
I'm not gonna comment on Hamilton.
Oh, okay.
I have a unpopular opinion about it.
Okay. Well,
I think it's not great.
Okay.
It's not terrible. It's not Cats, but it's not. Right. But it's not great. It's not even his best show. In the Heights is his best show. I think it's way better, and nobody ever talks about it. It makes me so sad that there's a movie coming, which is all I care about right now.
Okay.
They're doing a movie of In the Heights with him producing. That's good enough for me.
All right. Very good. So don't
drive our listeners away.
No, I was going to say don't hold back. Don't hold back. I don't want the listener base. We'll get. Don't worry.
Yeah, I think he's very talented. I think Hamilton has interesting music. I think the fact that it is not actually based on Hamilton and mostly a made-up version of his story is annoying. If you're going to do a fiction, don't try and pretend it's based on somebody.
Right.
That's my only thing. The music is decent. I think In the Heights music is better, which is also his. So
cool.
If you like Hamilton, go listen to In the Heights. It's way better.
All right. Very cool. Okay. So we're going into other investor news in the video game market. Sony has shared its Q1 results for fiscal year 2020. Overall sales reached $18.3 billion. The quarter saw Sony's game and network services division generate $5.7 billion in sales, with $1.5 billion in operating profit. Additionally, PS4 unit sales have now crossed 112.3 million units sold. 91 million units of PS4 software were sold, with first-party titles accounting for 18.5 million units sold. This number was heavily bolstered by the launch of The Last of Us Part 2 and Ghost of Tsushima in the same quarter, the former which sold 4 million copies in its first 3 days, and the latter which is its fastest new IP from PlayStation ever. Sony also noted that 70% of PlayStation games sold in Q1 were digital. PlayStation Plus subscriptions have risen to 45 million users, though there was no update on the number of PlayStation Now subscribers. Looking ahead, Sony is expecting a 26% rise in sales due to the impending launch of the PS5. Sony is also reportedly increasing production of the PS5 to 10 million by the end of 2020, and something tells me that that's going to be a big shakeup with Xbox coming out, or the Xbox
Series X.
Series X. Thank you.
And probably Series S. They haven't announced it yet, but there's two consoles. They haven't announced the second one, but there's two.
Okay.
There's the big boy, which is the Series X. Then there's going to be the smaller one that's probably all digital. But the thing that I find interesting here is that only 82% of PS4 owners bought a game this quarter. One game.
Right.
Those numbers don't look great. I mean, they're not terrible. And 91 million software titles, not bad. 112 million hardware units and 91 million software titles. That's not great.
Right.
And only 18.5 million of the 91 are first party, which is where they make their money, is on first party titles.
Right.
It's not terrible, but it's not It's not great.
Right.
I wouldn't be, if I were Sony, I wouldn't be sad about it, but I wouldn't be cheering about it either.
Yeah. Either,
we wouldn't be having a party about the numbers, but nobody's getting fired over them either.
Right. And I don't know. It's going to be
a quarter.
And it's going to be very interesting to see, with the PS5, because I know a lot of reports were coming out that because of with the pandemic, and there was a delay on it, and the announcements were delayed, and the first party titles were delayed. So it's not,
And yet Microsoft's out there making waves on everything. They're trying to get ahead of it.
Right. Yep.
Which I can understand after what happened to him last time. I'd be doing everything in my power to get ahead of it too.
You're right.
Because I wouldn't want what happened. If I was Microsoft, I wouldn't want what happened last time to happen again. And in this case, they've got this nice leisurely ability to talk about stuff as they want to. Both companies do, which they didn't last time. There was E3. And the same reason Microsoft pulled out of CES is the same reason why I think announcing this type of stuff at E3 is a problem, because it means you have to condense everything down to E3 on their timetable, not on yours. In this case, Microsoft showed off 18 studios in a presentation. Next time we're going to get to see more, and we're going to get to see some in-depths, and they're able to do what they want. And Sony's kind of doing the same thing. This is this. They haven't done the big presentations that Microsoft has done, but they will when they get things more firmed down, because last rumor I heard was they're still trying to figure out what the price is going to look like. Not great. But it's the kind of product that's always going to be like that. They literally changed the price of the PS4 an hour before the E3 press conference. They took the PlayStation Eye and the PlayStation Move out of the box and sold it for $100 less. And they made that decision literally an hour before their press conference. So, I mean, right up until they announced it, they didn't know how they were going to sell it. And that's always the case.
And not only the uncertainty of when they're going to, because it was the launch date was pushed back, and also the reports that I've seen is that they don't know if it's going to be coming out for the holidays, or we're August 7th. So as far as like any new announcements besides the investor news, I haven't seen anything yet.
If they miss November, they're going to get hammered because Microsoft's not going to miss November.
No. Oh, no.
I can guarantee it. Microsoft's not going to miss November. I mean, their hardware production on stuff is ahead of schedule. This isn't a public date yet, but there's rumors on it that the Surface Duo is going to hit the market on the 24th of this month. It wasn't supposed to hit until November.
Well, not to mention not to mention the partnership with Microsoft. They're already leap with Samsung, right? They're leaps ahead with that. So I mean, slowly but surely, it's gonna be Microsoft is going to
it's gonna be a much more even generation. This generation is gonna be much more even than the last one was. It's very lopsided in Sony's favor last time, and that was because Microsoft had their press conference first that day. Honest to God. If they had been reversed, Microsoft might have owned this generation. It was all that day at E3. It all comes down to that day.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens, but I'm
weirdest story in the gaming industry, possibly.
Yep, and it's gonna get weirder as it goes along. All right, and lastly in the news, do you need help with your tech this week? Over on makeuse.com, the 5 best dog training apps for Android and iPhone. There's Dogo dog training.
Probably Doggo.
Okay.
It's not how it's supposed to be spelled, but I bet that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
Okay. I'm okay. I'm mispronouncing things all this whole episode. So for the past hour or so, what the hell? There's also pupper. That's definitely the pronunciation
Without the E.
without the E.
Important to note, without the E.
Right. Pup
That
Ford.
one actually looks really cool.
Okay.
Graphically, the pupper one looks cool.
Mm-hmm. There is Good Pup and Pocket Puppy School.
Ooh,
Okay.
that one looks cool too.
Okay. Oh,
it might. Yeah, that's the dog from Full House.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're right.
Because that's the Full House couch.
Good eye. Good eye.
It was such an ugly couch.
Good eye.
It's hard to forget that horrible couch.
Good eye. Good eye.
Yeah, that's got to be Comet.
That's Comet. Yeah. Good eye. Good eye. All right. And this is gonna all be in the show notes on GNCweekly.com. And what a honker of an ad. Oh my goodness. Over on lifehacker.com, the best ways to block annoying people around the web. So there's iOS, Android, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. There's I'll show you how to do it on iOS. I'll show you how to do it on Android, Facebook, which that's a given right there. So
news and unfollow. Those have been my two. Those are my two go-tos the last couple of months.
Ditto. Same here. And Twitter, you can mute them and follow, blocking. Instagram and YouTube. So yeah, so I'll have that for you.
I had to block somebody on YouTube recently.
It's
a weird thing. Yeah, from the company page.
Oh, okay. Okay, you'll tell me that a little bit later. Over on AndroidCentral.com, the best wireless carriers for students in 2020. Android is just the best overall visible, best value, T-Mobile Connect, best for international students, Google Fi.
Yeah.
It's yearly plan, Mint Mobile, best flexible plan, US Mobile, best for data hogs, Boost Mobile, Shrink It. And the best unlimited plan, T-Mobile Centrals. And I
find it interesting that the first thing that the Dish Network did when they took over Boost Mobile was brought back the Shrink It plan. Because that was something that Boost Mobile had when I sold them a decade ago. That went away. Back when they was still Nextel based, they had that, and it went away for some reason. And it's interesting that they brought it back. It was a great selling point. Pay 3 months on time, and we'll take $5 off. Pay 3 months on time, we'll take $5 off. It's a great deal.
Yeah. All right. And over on AndroidCentral.com, the best Android smartwatch in 2020. There's the Samsung Galaxy Watch Active 2, the Active, the Skagen. I have no idea what that is. Foster 3, Movi TicWatch Pro. Who comes up with these names?
Chinese.
Okay. Enough said. Okay.
Just a guess. Okay. I don't know either of those brands, although number 3 sounds Scandinavian.
Okay. Wow. I don't know what. Okay.
KAG seems very Scandinavian to me.
Okay. I guess. So if anyone knows what this is, if you're watching live and you're watching this on the live stream, it's spelled SKAGEN Foster 3. So if you know what country that's from or what
Android Central's comment says there's no better option if you want to wear Google's Wear OS on your wrist. Wow.
That's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement.
Again, this is Android Central's opinion, not us. So
Probably based on their reviews, which if you
right.
consider it's Android Central talking about Android watches.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bold statement from them.
Yeah, I have no idea. Again, never heard of them. Let's see. Mobi TicWatch Pro 4G LTE. Garmin Forerunner 245 Music. There's a lot here, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, the Garmin ones, unless you want them to work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Since they had their outage a couple weeks ago,
right?
When all their services stopped working.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So apparently Android Central gives them 2 thumbs up. So all right. And lastly, over on makeuser.com, if you have kids going back to school or college students, there's the 6 must-have school supplies for online classes. The Logitech HD webcam C525, if you can purchase one, get one on Amazon.
A 525 for $85 when the 922 usually retails for $69 and is the top rated webcam in the world. Mm-hmm. No, I have to disagree. Logitech webcams are the best, but the T922 is the one you want if you can get it.
That's what I'm looking for, and it's been sold out for months. There's the Logitech USB headset H390, Microsoft 365 personal 12-month subscription, the Smug Chair bonded leather office chair. Okay.
I'm going to say if you're looking for the best office chair, tomshardware.com did a huge office and gaming chair roundup. Check out the Tom's Hardware roundup because they've probably reviewed way more of them.
Okay.
Well, than these guys did.
That's how I got my Dell from Tom's Hardware. So I highly recommend tomshardware.com. It's I'll definitely because I definitely need.
Abram does a great job over there.
He does. I give him tremendous kudos. And lastly, from them, they're suggesting the school supply, the HP OfficeJet 3830 all-in-one wireless printer. So all this can be found on the show notes on gncweekly.com/connect. In the show notes for gncweekly.com episode. Oh, for love of everything that's decent and holy. It's been a rough episode.
We warned you guys at the top that this was going to be a weird episode. We had mic problems leading up. And 5 minutes before the show, we couldn't hear each other. So it's been one of those days.
One of those weeks, and also it's been pouring, so I probably had, and the lights went out earlier, so
not better.
Right, but huzzah, we're still rolling. Okay. And that is the tech news for this week, for Friday, August 7th, 2020. Thank you so much for tuning in this week's episode, despite the technical issues and everything else. I promise it's not going to happen often. Show notes from this episode can be found at gncweekly.com. Also, be sure to check out the latest tech news and commentary from geeknewscentral.com. And be sure to tune in Mondays and Thursday evenings at geeknewscentral.com/live for the Geek News Central podcast. And then be sure to tune in and at gncweekly.com/live Friday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, usually 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So please be sure to like and subscribe to the GNC WIR channel on YouTube, or be sure to subscribe to this podcast on your favorite podcast app. And also be sure to tune in with Scott and Abram Pilch on F5 Refreshing Technology, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern at plughitslive.com/join us. And the podcast can be found on your favorite podcast app. Comments on this week's episode, despite the technical issues. Also, if you have your ideas, suggestions on how TPN's coverage is for the CES 2021, Love to hear from them. We'll have a link, a forum on gncweekly.com, on all the social platforms, and also on Plugits Live as well. Also, if you want to give ideas and sessions on this show as well, that'd be great. And we'll throw in some prizes. Like, again, I showing off, if you're watching the video live stream, the CES press bag and some other cool stuff. But other things, other suggestions and comments, etc. GNCweekly.com/connect, and you can connect via email, Twitter, or Facebook. I'm on Twitter. I'm at Kirk. Corliss Scott is on Twitter at TMABO. Till the next episode of the GNC Week in Review podcast. So long.
Ciao.